I'm a sleep doctor, and I need to tell you something that nobody's telling you about the military's 2-minute sleep trick. Everything you think you know about falling asleep is completely wrong. And the worst part, the technique that's supposed to work isn't actually working for most people who try it. But the reason why will absolutely shock you. And once you understand it, your entire relationship with sleep will change forever. You see, I spent the first 15 years of my medical career believing the same thing you probably believe right now. I thought insomnia was a personal problem, a weakness, something you fixed with discipline and willpower. I thought if you just tried hard enough, if you just had enough self-control, you could force yourself to sleep. But then something happened that completely shattered that belief and changed how I see sleep, stress, and the human nervous system. I had a patient come to me, a fighter pilot named Marcus. He was trained in the military sleep method. He'd used it for years, successfully during his active service. But at 42, after a decade of high-stress deployments, his sleep had completely fallen apart. He'd lie in bed at night, try the technique that had worked for him for years, and nothing would happen. His mind would race with thoughts about his career, his family, his future. His body would stay tense, his heart would stay elevated, and he'd lie there, frustrated, thinking he was broken. He told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Doc, if this technique doesn't work on me, what hope do I have? I was trained by the military. I've used this in combat zones, but now I can't even sleep in my own bed." That question haunted me because Marcus wasn't broken. The technique wasn't broken. Something else was missing, something fundamental. And that's when I started researching what top sleep scientists have just uncovered about why this method fails for so many people and what the real secret actually is. Here's the truth that's being hidden in plain sight, and most sleep advice completely misses this. The military 2-minute sleep method doesn't actually work the way everyone thinks it works. It's not about relaxing your muscles. It's not about clearing your mind. Those are just the surface instructions, the things you can see and measure. But the real mechanism, the thing that actually makes the technique work, is something completely different. It's neurological. It's about how your brain processes information and signals safety to your body. The military developed this technique for pilots who needed to sleep in the most extreme conditions imaginable. Combat zones, aircraft carriers, environments filled with noise and threat and constant danger. The pilots who could use this method successfully weren't the ones who could relax the best. They weren't the ones with the strongest willpower. They were the ones who could do something much more specific, something that nobody ever explicitly teaches you. They could shift their brain's attention away from external threats and onto internal sensations. This is what neuroscientists call interoception. It's the ability to perceive what's happening inside your own body, your heartbeat, your breathing, the feeling of your body sinking into the mattress, the warmth of the blanket, the subtle sensations of your limbs. When you can shift your attention to these internal sensations, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system gets a signal that you're safe, that the threats are no longer the focus, that you're no longer scanning the environment for danger. And when your nervous system receives that signal, it does what it's designed to do. It lets go. It activates the parasympathetic system. It falls asleep. The problem is, most people don't know how to do this. They try to relax their muscles, but their mind is still scanning for threats. They try to clear their thoughts, but their brain is still in survival mode. This is what I call the body-mind disconnect. Your body is in the bedroom, but your nervous system is still in the boardroom. Your body is lying down, but your brain is still at work. Your body is trying to rest, but your mind is still solving problems. This is why the technique fails for so many people. It's not because you're weak or broken. It's not because you don't have enough discipline. It's because you're missing the neurological key that makes the whole thing work. I see this constantly in my practice. High performers, entrepreneurs, parents, people whose brains are trained to stay alert, to solve problems, to anticipate threats, to never let their guard down. These are the people who struggle most with sleep. And here's the irony: their superpower during the day becomes their curse at night. The same mental discipline that makes them successful in their careers makes it impossible for them to sleep. They lie in bed and they try to force themselves to relax. But forcing and relaxing are opposites. The harder they try, the more their nervous system stays activated. It's a vicious cycle that feeds on itself. The more you try to sleep, the more awake you become. The more you struggle, the more your body resists. This is the core problem that nobody addresses. I had another patient, Sarah, a CEO of a tech company. She was incredibly successful. She could manage a team of 50 people, close multi-million-dollar deals, navigate complex politics, and handle crisis after crisis without breaking a sweat. Her colleagues called her unflappable. Her employees called her a visionary, but at night she was a mess. She'd get into bed and her mind would immediately start replaying conversations from the day, analysing decisions, worrying about tomorrow's presentation, thinking about the email she sent and whether it was too harsh. She tried the military method. She followed every step perfectly. She tried meditation. She tried apps. She tried supplements. She tried everything. Nothing worked, and she started to believe that maybe her brain was just wired differently, that maybe some people just aren't built to sleep well, that maybe her intelligence and her drive, the things that made her successful, were incompatible with sleep. But that's not true. What Sarah needed wasn't a different technique. She needed to understand why her technique wasn't working. She needed to understand the neurology. She needed to understand that her problem wasn't her technique. Her problem was her nervous system didn't believe it was safe to let go. Then there's David, a surgeon. His job requires absolute precision. His patients' lives depend on his ability to focus, to stay alert, to catch every detail. He's trained his entire life to never miss anything, to always be scanning, to always be ready. But this same training made sleep nearly impossible. He'd lie in bed and his mind would be analysing the surgeries he'd performed that day, thinking about potential complications, worrying about his patient's recovery. His body would be exhausted, but his mind would be running at full speed. He tried the military method and it didn't work. He tried everything and nothing worked until he understood the real mechanism, until he understood that his problem wasn't that he couldn't relax. His problem was that his nervous system didn't know how to shift its focus. Once he understood that, everything changed. Here's what the cutting-edge research shows. Your nervous system has two very different modes. The gas pedal is your sympathetic nervous system. It's your fight or flight response. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. It makes you alert and ready for action. It sharpens your focus. It increases your heart rate. It prepares your muscles for action. This is incredibly useful during the day. It's what you need to be productive, to handle challenges, to perform at your best. But here's the problem. Most of us are pressing this gas pedal all day long. We're constantly stimulated, constantly connected, constantly checking our phones, constantly in meetings, constantly in a state of low-grade alert. Our nervous systems are in a state of chronic activation. Then we get into bed and we expect to just slam on the brakes. We expect our nervous system to instantly switch modes, but the body doesn't work that way. Your nervous system has momentum. It's like trying to stop a freight train on a dime. It has inertia. It takes time to downshift. The brake pedal is your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest system. It slows your heart rate. It deepens your breathing. It activates your digestive system. It signals to every cell in your body that you are safe, that the battle is over, that you can let your guard down. You cannot fall asleep without pressing this brake. But here's the crucial thing that most people don't understand. You can't press the brake by force. You can't command your nervous system to relax. That actually activates it more. Trying to force relaxation is like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The more you try, the more it resists. The only way to press the brake is to give your brain a very specific signal. You have to convince your brain that the threats are no longer the focus, that the focus is here, inside, where it's safe. And the way you do that is through interoception, through shifting your attention to the internal sensations of your body. So here's how you actually use the military method correctly. And this is the part that changes everything. This is the part that separates the people who can fall asleep in 2 minutes from the people who lie awake for hours. The first step is to create what I call a container of safety. This isn't just about having a dark room or a comfortable bed. It's about sending a signal to your nervous system that the battle is over, that you're no longer in threat mode. Dim the lights at least an hour before bed. This signals to your brain that the day is ending. Make your room cool. A slight drop in body temperature is a powerful biological trigger for sleep. Your body naturally cools down when it's time to sleep. Put your phone away in another room if possible. Your phone is a constant source of threat signals, emails, messages, news, social media. All of it is designed to activate your nervous system. Remove that from your sleep space. These aren't just comfort measures. They're neurological signals. You're telling your brain, this space is safe. The threats are no longer here. You can let your guard down. The second step is what I call the facial release. Your face is directly connected to your threat detection center. When you're stressed, the muscles around your eyes and jaw are chronically tense. This tension sends a signal to your brain that you're still in threat mode. So close your eyes gently, not tightly, gently. Let your jaw hang loose. Allow your teeth to part slightly. Let your tongue rest completely limp in your mouth. You're not forcing anything. You're not trying to achieve a perfect state of relaxation. You're simply inviting release. You're signaling to your brain that your face is no longer in a state of tension, that you're no longer scanning the environment, that you're safe. The third step is the gravity cascade. This is where we apply the classic progressive relaxation, but with a new intention. We're not commanding our body to relax. We're inviting it to surrender to gravity. Start with your shoulders. Let them drop as low as they can possibly go. Feel the release of the burden they've been carrying all day. Feel the weight lifting. Now move to your arms, one at a time. Start with your dominant arm. Let it become heavy. Imagine it's made of lead. Imagine it sinking into the mattress. Feel that sensation of heaviness, and then let that feeling of heaviness flow down into your hand and fingers. Then repeat with the other arm. Now, move to your chest. Take a slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, let your chest soften and sink. Feel your back pressing into the bed, and now the cascade flows down to your legs. Feel the weight of your thighs heavy on the bed, then your calves, your ankles, and your feet. You're not fighting your body. You're not commanding it. You're joining forces with gravity. You're allowing your body to do what it naturally wants to do. The key here is to focus on the sensation of heaviness. That's the anchor for your attention. That's what we're going for. And here's the crucial fourth step, the mental anchor. This is where most people fail because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. This is where the real secret lives. You're not supposed to clear your mind. You're not supposed to think about a calm lake or a blue sky. You're not supposed to try to empty your thoughts. That's the old advice and it doesn't work. You're supposed to focus on one simple physical sensation, either the feeling of a heaviness in your body, that feeling of sinking into the bed, or you can focus on the sensation of your breath, specifically the feeling of the cool air entering your nostrils and the warm air leaving. Do not try to control your breath, just observe it. Your only job is to rest your attention on one of these two boring physical sensations. When a thought arises, as it inevitably will, I want you to imagine it is a cloud passing in the sky. Acknowledge it without judgment. Don't fight it. Don't try to push it away. Just acknowledge it and gently, kindly guide your attention back to your anchor, back to the heaviness, back to the breath. You may have to do this 100 times. It doesn't matter. Every single time you guide your attention back, you are strengthening the neural pathway for focus and calm. You are training your brain. You are teaching your nervous system that it's safe to let go. This is the banana for the monkey. This is what stops the mental chatter, not by fighting it, but by giving your mind something so simple and so non-threatening that it has no choice but to focus there. When you do this correctly, something shifts. You'll notice it. Your brain receives the signal. The threats are no longer the focus. The focus is here, inside, where it's safe and calm. And in response to that signal, your nervous system does what it's designed to do. It lets go. It activates the parasympathetic system. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, your muscles relax, and you fall asleep. Sometimes it happens quickly. Sometimes it takes a little longer. But it happens. The technique works when you understand the neurology behind it. This is the fifth and final step, what I call the empty space. After a few minutes of focusing on your anchor, you may notice something remarkable. You may notice the space between your thoughts. It might only last for a second or two, but there will be a moment of quiet. When you notice this, I want you to simply rest in that emptiness. Don't try to hold on to it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to figure out what's happening. Just let it be. This is the state of neurological surrender. This is the gateway to sleep. This entire process should take 2 to 3 minutes if you're experienced. But don't worry if it takes longer at first. You're retraining your nervous system. Every time you practice, you're strengthening the neural pathways and building the skill. Marcus, the fighter pilot, got it within 3 nights. He stopped trying to force relaxation and started guiding his attention. He stopped fighting his mind and started anchoring it. On the first night, he fell asleep in about 15 minutes. On the second night, 10. By the end of the week, he was consistently falling asleep in under 5 minutes. And he told me something that made me realize how important this understanding is. He said, "Doc, I finally get it. I wasn't trying to relax. I was trying to shift my attention. And once I understood that, everything changed." What Marcus discovered is that the technique isn't about forcing anything. It's about allowing. It's about permission. It's about giving your nervous system permission to let go. Once you understand that, you stop fighting, you stop struggling, you stop trying so hard, and paradoxically, that's when it works. That's when sleep comes naturally. Sarah, the CEO, had a similar experience. She realized that her brilliant analytical mind didn't need to be silenced. It just needed to be given something specific to focus on. Once she understood that, everything changed. She started using the technique, and within a week, she was sleeping better than she had in years. She was waking up refreshed. She was more productive at work. Her relationships improved. Everything improved because she was finally getting quality sleep. She told me that the best part was that she stopped feeling guilty about not being able to sleep. She realized it wasn't a personal failing. It was just her nervous system doing what it was trained to do. And once she could work with her nervous system instead of against it, everything shifted. And David, the surgeon, used the technique before a major surgery. He was anxious about the procedure, but he used the mental anchor technique for just 2 minutes before going into the operating room. And he told me that it completely changed his state. He went from anxious to calm, from scattered to focused. The technique works for sleep, but it also works for any situation where you need to shift your nervous system from threat mode to calm mode. Athletes use it before competitions. Public speakers use it before presentations. Students use it before exams. Parents use it when they're feeling overwhelmed. The applications are endless once you understand the mechanism. This is the insight that the military has known for decades, but that most sleep advice completely misses. It's not about the technique, it's about the neurology behind the technique. It's about understanding that you can't force your nervous system to relax. You can only guide it. You can only give it a signal of safety. And when you do that, sleep becomes natural. It becomes easy. I want you to try this tonight. Create your container of safety. Dim the lights. Cool your room. Put your phone away. Do the facial release. Let your jaw hang loose. Do the gravity cascade. Feel your body sinking into the mattress. And then focus on one simple sensation. The heaviness or the breath. That's it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to do it perfectly. Just practice shifting your attention from the chaos of your thoughts to the quiet of your body. And notice what happens. I'm genuinely curious. How does your body respond? Does the heaviness deepen? Does your breathing slow down? Do you notice your heart rate dropping? Does your mind quiet down? Does sleep come easier? Let me know in the comments. Your experience will help me create content that's even more relevant to what you're going through. Your feedback helps me understand what's working and what isn't. It helps me refine the technique and make it better for everyone. And here's something important. If it doesn't work perfectly on the first night, that's okay. You're retraining your nervous system. You're breaking old patterns and building new ones. That takes time. Some people get it on the first night. Others take a week or two. But if you keep practicing, if you keep using the technique, it will work. The key is consistency. The key is patience with yourself. The key is understanding that you're not trying to force anything. You're just practicing a new way of being, a new way of shifting your nervous system. And every single time you practice, you're getting better at it. So here's what we've learned. The military 2-minute sleep method isn't actually about 2 minutes. It's about understanding the neurology of your nervous system. It's about knowing that you have a gas pedal and a brake pedal. It's about understanding that you can't force the brake, but you can guide it. It's about learning to shift your attention from external threats to internal safety. This isn't a magic trick. It's not a hack. It's a skill. And like any skill, it requires practice. But the good news is it works. It works for fighter pilots in combat zones. It works for CEOs managing high-stress companies. It works for surgeons preparing for complex procedures. It works for parents juggling 1,000 responsibilities. It works for anyone who's willing to understand the neurology and practice the technique correctly. The power to change your sleep is not in a pill or a gadget or some complicated system. It's in understanding how your own nervous system works. And once you understand that, you have the power to change everything. You have the power to go from lying awake for hours to falling asleep in minutes. You have the power to go from waking up exhausted to waking up refreshed. You have the power to reclaim your sleep and reclaim your life. The research on sleep is clear. When you get quality sleep, everything changes. Your immune system strengthens, your metabolism improves, your mood stabilizes, your cognitive function sharpens, your creativity increases, your relationships improve, your productivity skyrockets. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's a fundamental human need, and when you're not getting it, every area of your life suffers. But when you do get it, every area of your life improves. This is why I'm so passionate about sharing this technique, because I've seen what happens when people finally understand how their nervous system works. I've seen the transformations. I've seen people go from being exhausted and frustrated to being energized and hopeful. I've seen relationships heal. I've seen careers flourish. I've seen lives change. And it all starts with understanding this one simple thing. Your nervous system is not your enemy. It's trying to protect you. It's just stuck in a pattern. And once you understand that pattern and learn how to shift it, everything becomes possible. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to stop fighting your sleep and start healing it, then I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel. I'm here to guide you on this journey. Every week, I share new insights about sleep, stress, and how to build a nervous system that works for you, not against you. I share techniques, strategies, and stories from real people who have transformed their sleep and their lives. I share the science in a way that's easy to understand and easy to apply. And I'm genuinely invested in your success. Your comments, your questions, your experiences matter to me. They help me understand what you're struggling with. They help me create content that's relevant and helpful. So please leave a comment. Tell me what you're going to try first. Tell me your biggest sleep challenge. Tell me what's keeping you awake at night, and I'll do my best to address it in future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.